In the previous lecture we have discussed the new 7 quality control tools. Now in this lecture now we are going to discuss the concept of quality circles. This question is asked number of times in the exam also. So one sketch is in front of you. This is a sketch of the quality circle. So basically what is a quality circle? It is a group of 9 to 10 workers or 8 to 10 members who voluntarily form a group. They form a group, these workers, and they will meet regularly to analyze and solve the problems related to their work only. So that is the basic principle behind the formation of say quality circle. Now whatever meetings are whatever meetings happen among these group members, all these meetings are not official or they are not formal meetings, they are informal meetings, and generally they are held per week for 1 hour. Okay, so and very important thing is that the members of the circle discuss the problems related to their work only. No administrative or personal problems should be discussed, nothing except the work related problems related to shop floor. Okay. Now what is the principle behind this? So you can the principle behind quality circle is that the workers at the grassroots level, means the workers which are actually working on the shop floor, are the best persons to identify the problems in their area and suggest the solution. This is the say basic principle behind the formation of the quality circle, that the workers which are actually working on the shop floor are the best persons to identify the problems in their area. So we can experience this everywhere. Okay, so workers who are working can identify the problems in their area and they can suggest the solution also. So why not to take the advantage of this situation? Why not to take the knowledge from such workers? Okay, and believe me that the solutions suggested by these workers are say very good solutions. Many times it happens that the solutions given by the workers are better than the solutions provided by the shop floor managers or engineers. Okay, so this is the principle behind the formation of the quality circle. So as you can see, the objectives of the quality circles are to involve the grassroots workers in quality improvements and solve their problems, just we discussed. Okay, so that the objective is to improve the quality. Then to make workers more conscious about quality and cost of the product. So if the workers discuss the problems related to their work, these workers can get also get conscious about the quality and the cost of the product. Okay, they will become more and more cautious. Okay, so that is the second objective. Third, to provide opportunities to workers to get trained in identify technical problems and working out the solutions. So you are providing the opportunity to the workers to get trained so that they can identify the technical problems and they can solve those problems also in future. They don't need to wait for the expert to come and solve their problem, otherwise the production will hamper. Okay, the next objective is to enhance the employee motivation, self-confidence and communication skills. So as the workers get involved in the solution of the problems, it will definitely boost the motivation of the employee, because they will feel proud about about giving the suggestions, they will become confident, and their communication skill will also improve. Okay, that is the next objective. Then to improve the loyalty, commitment, job satisfaction. So obviously, if the workers get involved in such, say, quality related problems, so definitely their loyalty will increase, their commitment will improve, their job satisfaction will increase. And last is to discover the talent and encourage it to grow by suitable recognition and rewards. So we know that many of the workers have hidden talent. So because of some reasons, they might not have taken some technical education. Okay, but it doesn't mean that these people don't have the talent. So we have to discover that talent and encourage that talent just by giving some recognition and rewards. So that is the objective number 6. So these are the objectives of the quality circles. Then this is the quality circle process is there. So you can see a team creates quality circle and collects the information. Then a team selects the problem to be solved. So there may be various problems. Suppose a group of workers working on lathe machines is there. Okay, so if there is a machine shop is there, and in machine shop there is a different sections are there. Lathe machine section is there, milling machine section is there, then grinding machine section is there. Okay, CNC machine section is there. So there may be different sections are there, and a group of lathe machine workers may be facing some issue. They may feel a problem like whenever they are carrying out the machining of, say, certain type of the components, they have observed that the surface finish is very bad during machining, or the inserts of the say tool, they are getting broken, or they are getting worn out quickly than the say previous time. So such type of the problems. So if everybody is facing the problem, so they can discuss the problem. So what may be the reason? So they will first select the problem, which problem is to be discussed. There may be number of problems may be there. So there is possibility that simultaneously all the problems cannot be discussed. So what they will do, they will decide the priority of the problems and discuss the problems in that priority only. Okay, so team will gather the data and analyze the problem. So if suppose a particular type of the say a tool is getting broken while carrying out some kind of lathe machine operation, so that is the problem. Breaking of the tools, say let us say turning tools, that is the problem. The tool is continuously getting broken. So team will collect the data. So the data will be collect various methods we have already seen how to collect the data. So management also has to support. So they will gather the data and they will analyze the problem. So they will think, brainstorming will take place. 8 to 10 members are there. Everybody is having his own views. So each view will be studied differently, and the data will be collected. Then once the solution is as the problem is analyzed, the solution will be given. There may be alternative solutions, more than one solutions may be there. So such solutions will be given by this quality circle. That solution will be, say, presented to the management. So one thing is that the quality circle members of the quality circle don't have the authority to take the decision for the solution of a problem. Okay, they will just present the solution or solutions. If there are many solutions, alternatives may be there. So all such solutions will be presented to the management, top management. Now the top management will check the decision making process. They will check the feasibility of the solution, and if the top management feels that the solution provided by the quality circle, if it is correct, if it is say feasible, then the top management will decide the solution, which is they will take the decision about the solution provided by the quality circle members, and they will implement, or they will start to implement the solution. Okay, so same here, it is feedback from the manager. So decision will be taken, and that will feedback will be given to the quality circle members. So same is written here only, here also you can see. Okay, same is organization, means formation of the team, then data collection, problem analysis, brainstorming is there, problem analysis, solution, and presentation. Same which is given in circle form, it is here written in straight horizontal form. Okay, so this is the working style of a quality circle. Now this is the structure of the quality circle: non-QC members, then members, leader, facilitator, coordinator, steering committee, and the top management. So this is the hierarchy of the quality circle, hierarchy. Okay, so structure of the quality circle. Now before going to the say next section, so quality circle, we have discussed the advantages of the, means we have already discussed the objectives, and if those objectives are achieved, then the quality circle is definitely helpful. But sometimes it may happen, means some of the advantages are the obviously the higher quality of the product, higher productivity, lower cost, then less rework and less scrap, better use of resources, leadership development, identification of the workforce talent. These are the some of the say advantages of the quality circle. But there may be some limitations of the quality circle also. There can be some limitations. So what are those limitations? So one of the limitation is that time and cost involved in training of large number of the staff members. See, you are supposed to give the training if required to the quality circle members also. So the time and cost involved in such training may be too large. Then disappointment of over optimistic members if their suggestions are not accepted. Means sometimes it may happen that the quality circle is giving some solution, and if that solution is not accepted by the top management, in that case the members of the quality circle may get disappointed. They will say that we have taken so much efforts and the management is not taking the action, they are not taking our solution. So in that case they may get disappointed. Then the members may devote too much time to quality control activities. Okay, they may challenge the traditional authority structure. So always in any organization there is a traditional authority structure is there, right from top management to the grassroots worker. So in this case this structure may be challenged. Okay, then sometimes the changes and changes required in the system and control that may be resisted by the other workers. Okay, solution given by the quality circle may require some changes, major changes in the system, and that might be resisted. Okay, so these are some of the limitations of the quality circle. So this ends the quality circle. Now we have to see the one more concept, that is the importance of the quality deployment. Okay, at design and manufacturing. So the word deploy, quality deployment at design and manufacturing. So here the meaning is you have to build the quality instead of checking the quality in the product or in the service. You have to try to build the quality in the product at design and manufacturing, because these are the two most important stages of product life. Okay, so at these two stages only the quality can be deployed. The majority of the quality will be implemented or will be deployed or will be built at these two stages only. Okay, so the basic objective of this concept is to satisfy the customer. Okay, so we know that if the customer is not satisfied, the part will get rejected, isn't it? So many times your entire business depends upon the quality of the product, and the quality of the product is going to build a brand name. And in future, if once a brand is established, then the people will purchase, or the customer will purchase the components looking at brand only. The brand is the symbol of the quality of your product. Okay, so increased quality awareness in the worldwide markets have increased the pressure on the manufacturers to keep on improve quality in terms of utility, reliability, maintainability and cost, etc. So with increasing this, so quality awareness is definitely increased. So that's why an extra pressure is mounted on the manufacturers to keep on improving the quality. So every time the manufacturer has to work on improving the quality, isn't it? So in terms of utility, reliability, maintainability, cost, etc, etc. Okay, so once we know that the quality is to be improved, we know that the quality largely depends on the design and manufacturing process. Okay, now designer specifies the material, size, shape, accuracy and finish required for the product. Now designer is going to specify these things: what kind of material, what kind of material is to be used, raw material, then what should be the size, what should be the shape, what kind of accuracy and what kind of surface finish is required. So that kind of that kind of things are required by the specified by the designer at the time of designing the component. Okay, because all these things matter a lot, which are deciding the quality of the product. And once the designer specifies all the things, it is the responsibility of the manufacturing section to produce the parts as per the specifications. Okay, so that's why if you want to improve the quality, you have to begin, or instead of have to, you must begin with the improvement in design and manufacturing process. So whenever you are thinking to improve the quality, you have to think of making the changes either in design or in manufacturing or in both possible. So you have to first identify and proceed accordingly. So design for manufacturing, so it is a must for economical manufacturing. Whenever you design something, you should design from manufacturing point of view. Whatever you design, it should be manufacturable. Okay, don't design the things which is not possible to manufacture. So focus on simplify the design to make it producible. So it is complete approach to production of the goods that integrate the product design process. Okay, so it starts with, product design process starts with the selection of the material. So you have to select it is the most important say part of your quality improvement, say uh, quality improvement technique. Material, raw material is going to decide the function of your final product, how the final product is going to function, what kind of quality is going to be built in that final product. That is going to be decided basically by the raw materials, because these materials will impart the required qualities. Okay, so material selection of the material is very important. It is going to decide the service life, resistance to the applied load, safety against environment. Then the material is going to decide the various properties, mechanical properties, chemical properties, isn't it? So that's why selection of the material is very important thing. Consideration of manufacturing methods. So what kind of manufacturing method is going to be used, that has to be decided. Every manufacturing process has its own advantages and own disadvantages. Okay, so selection of the manufacturing method is very important. Again, whether you are going to produce the component by say forging, whether by powder metallurgy, whether by casting, and other say manufacturing methods, so that is to be decided. Then process planning has to be done properly, assembly, testing, and quality assurance. Okay, so the product design process starts with this. Then designer must have the knowledge of materials, manufacturing methods, machinery, and equipments. See, designing is the most important step. So the designer must have the knowledge of material. That's why you learn material science and metallurgy. The designer must have the knowledge of manufacturing methods. That's why you study the manufacturing technology, workshop technology, isn't it? Production technology. The designer must have knowledge of machinery and equipments, because designer is going to decide everything. What kind of material is to be used, which kind of manufacturing method is to be used, what kind of machinery is required, because machinery is going to decide the what kind of quality will be produced. Process capability is basically related with the kind of machinery you are using, and equipments required for say manufacturing as well as say inspection also. So designer must have knowledge of all these areas. Some of the design principles that should be implemented: the design must be simple, it should be possible to manufacture. As I told you previously, that whatever you design, it should be producible. Sometimes whatever you design, it is very difficult to produce the same. Okay, then it should be say simple to assemble, disassemble, service, and recycle. These are say basic principles of the design. Then material should be properly chosen considering the service life. So as I told you, that material is the biggest say parameter which decides the service life of the product. Okay, dimensional accuracy and surface finish should be as broad as possible. As I told you, the dimensional accuracy and surface finish should be as broad as possible. Dimensional accuracy plays very important role in assembly. So unnecessary, don't go for the too close tolerances. It is very difficult to produce the components with too close tolerances. Okay, so they should be as broad as possible. Okay, then that was related with the importance of the quality deployment at design and manufacturing. Now initial planning for the quality. Basic objective is decided in advance. So whenever you are planning for the quality, basic objective should be decided in advance. Your planning means you are deciding in advance. So what is to be decided in advance? What to do? when to do, how to do, and who to do. So that is related with the planning. So what activity is going to be carried out, when that activity is going to be carried out, how that activity will be carried out, and who will carry out that activity. So all these things has to be decided well in advance. Okay, it has to be decided well in advance. So you review for the product design and process design. So whenever you are planning the quality, review for the product design and process design. So in under this, identification of the product and process, review for the product design and process design, identification of the product and process, analyze the process flow, understand we are going to see all these things in detail, understand and how they are related to quality. So that we are going to discuss. Understand the interrelationship of process variable, determine process capability, make process mistake proof, validate measurement process, and plan for the operator self control. So we will see these things one by one. What is meaning of this? In this review for the product design and process design means here the focus is on how adequate is field performance. Means you are going to check how the field performance is, whether the field performance is adequate or not. So how you will decide, how will you identify? So identify the key product and process characteristics. So key product and process, key characteristics means important characteristics. So if you are saying that I want the quality product means what kind of characteristics you are looking for in that product. So that those characteristics are called as a key product characteristics or important product characteristics. So you have to identify such product characteristics. So the customer is going to give you some he is going to express his expectations, but the expectations of the customers are not in terms of the product characteristics. Okay, so it is the duty of the designer, engineer, or engineering that particular organization to convert the expectations of the customer into key product characteristics. So organization has to decide that what kind of characteristics will be required so that that product will satisfy the needs of the customer. Okay, so you have the identification of the key product characteristics and process characteristics. So process, if you want to manufacture the product, you have to implement certain processes. So every product will have some process characteristics. So process characteristics will build the product. Then relative importance of various product characteristics. So every product will have say some number of characteristics. Out of that, you have to identify which characteristics are more important, which characteristics are less important. So you have to identify the relative importance of various product characteristics. Then check for whether the manufacturing setup is available with you to meet the product requirement. Suppose a product characteristic requires heat treatment facility. So you have to check whether heat treatment facility is available with you or not. So that is to be checked, whether the required manufacturing setup is available with you or not. Check whether the proper measurement and inspection setup is available or not. Sometimes some components will require inspection by the coordinate measuring machine. So you have to check whether coordinate machine CMM is available with you or not. Sometimes non-destructive testing is required. So in that non-destructive testing, check whether you have that facility of the non-destructive testing. Under non-destructive testing, various methods are there. DP test is there, then radiography test is there, ultrasonography test is there. So out of that, which test is applicable, and check whether that facility is available or that setup is available with you or not, because all these things are going to build the quality. Okay. Check whether the special needs like handling, transportation and storage is available with you or not. Sometimes the special handling is required, transportation, storage, special requirements are there, so check for those special storages. Then material control, segregation, identification and traceability. So you just discover whether segregation facilities available with you or not. So there should be proper identification and traceability. So even if some kind of failure takes place, so your organization should have the mechanism to identify the defective components. Okay, so traceability should be there. Special skilled personnel, so check whether special skilled persons are available with you or not, that is to be checked. Okay, then identification of product and process characteristics means what? Product characteristics, these are the features that product should possess to meet the customer needs. So just I briefed you what is meaning of the product and process characteristics. So these are the features. Characteristics means features that will meet the customer needs. So if these features are included in that particular product, the customer will be satisfied or the needs of the customer will meet. Okay, so how to identify such process characteristics? This process characteristics will be identified using inputs from. So how to identify these key characteristics? So key characteristics are identified using market research. So market research can be carried out by various techniques, and from that market research analysis you can find out what the customer needs. Okay, quality function deployment, just what is QFD. From QFD we can get design review. If we review the design, you can get the key characteristics. FMSA, that is failure mode effect criticality analysis. So from this analysis also you can get the important characteristics which are must. Key means must characteristics. If these characteristics are installed in your product, the product will meet the customer needs. So that was the second thing. Analyze the process flow. So what is the meaning of analyzing the process flow? So the planner, whoever is planning the activities, he will use the flow diagram to divide the flow into some logical section called as a workstation. Means a product, whenever you are manufacturing a product, the product is going to pass through a number of processes. So each process will be carried out at some workstations. For example, if you take the example of casting, so for manufacturing casting, various processes are there. Say right from the sand plant. So sand plant you will require, suppose if you are making a sand casting, green sand molding casting, so sand plant is a workstation, one workstation. Then it will come to the molding. So molding section is another workstation. Then there is a pouring section, so that will be another workstation. Fourth is a say melting, so that will be another workstation. Fifth is a fettling, another workstation, and so on. So the planner uses the flow diagram to divide the flow into logical sections, so called as a workstation. So for each station the planner is going to prepare a formal document that is called as a process sheet. So process sheet will be prepared for each and every station. So process sheet contains standard operating process. Okay, if you take the example of the molding workstation, so for molding workstation there is a process sheet. For sand plant there is a process sheet. For melting section there is a process sheet. For pouring section there is a process sheet. So for each workstation process sheet will be given. In that process sheet everything will be mentioned. Okay, so document becomes standard when the process is carried out. So how to work, it is clearly mentioned in that process sheet. Everything related to carry out that process is basically mentioned in that process sheet. Okay, then understand the concept of interrelations of process variables. So there are so many process variables are there, so we have to understand the interrelations of such process variables. So to understand the interrelations of process variables, the concept of DOE, that is a design of experiments, Taguchi approach, Six Sigma, these are applied. So these are the some of the techniques using which you can understand the interrelationship of various process variables. So if you take the example of say temperature, process variables means what? If you vary one variable, there can be there may be change in the performance of the other variable. Okay, so let us say if you take the example of again casting. So in that casting, if you increase the say green compression strength of the sand, so you have changed one variable. What is the variable? Green compression strength of the sand. But if that variable is changed, its effect is on the say permeability. Okay, so its effect is on the mold hardness also, isn't it? So if you increase the green compression strength, the mold hardness will also increase, but the permeability will get reduced. So if you change one variable, there is change in other variables also. Okay, and there are other it will cause say it will influence other factor also. So such interrelationship has to be studied. You cannot consider from only one side. Okay, the top management has to supply the missing data and training of the process engineers to integrate the concept of the process planning. So it is the duty of the top management to supply the missing data and arrange the training of the process engineers. Okay, then the this organization has to determine the process capability. So we are going to study this in detail in unit number 5. What is the process capability? So whenever you are saying that you want the components of a particular quality, first you have to carry out the feasibility study, that the quality which is desired by you, whether it is achievable using the available resources. If you are saying that I want super finish, the surface finish of the my part should be very high, it is say less than say 0.005 micron, RA value should be less than 0.005. so it is not possible, and you have been provided lathe machine, so it is not possible because lathe machine has not capability to produce the components of such high surface finish. So process capability for each process has to be determined, and accordingly the designer has to specify which machine, which process has to be implemented. So for that you have to determine CP and CPK indices. So these are the two indices. We are going to see this in detail in unit number 5. This is called, CP is called as process capability ratio, and CPK is called as a process capability index. Okay, then mistake proofing. So you implement try to implement this Japanese technique which is called as a Poka-yoke. So we are going to see this in detail in unit number 5. Poka-yoke is a Japanese technique in which you are introducing certain devices. So these devices will be arranged in such a way that these devices will not allow you to make the mistake. Okay, they will prevent the commitment of the mistake. Okay, and last one is the validate the measurement process and plan for the operator self control. So whatever measurement process is there, you just validate it, confirm it with some higher advanced say measurement techniques, and plan for the operator self control. So what is this operator self control? We are going to discuss. So we'll stop here.